everybody. Good morning. I am here at the corner of Main and Market Street with Troy Hashimoto. He is a candidate for State Rep District 8, which is everything from Waikapu down to Kakaloa.
Kakaloa, yeah.
All right. Thanks for walking story with us, Troy.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Could you just tell us a little bit about your background? What are your ties to Maui? What makes you want to be involved in politics?
Yeah, so I was born and raised here on Maui, and actually my family is originally from up country. You know, I think my family is most well known for our persimmon farm up in Kula. And so, you know, during that time, as farmers, they really needed to fight for the community, and I think they really instilled in us the value of hard work and making sure that you kind of need to advocate for bettering our community, because you know, as farmers, they needed to get things done, and so they taught us that, and that's why we're so involved in the community. My brother's a teacher, and also my sister is involved in the community as well as a teacher, and you know, my way to giving back is kind of getting involved in government, and so I've been always very interested in government. I sat on the Hawaii State Board of Education when I was a senior in high school, and that kind of gave me my first foray into politics. And you know, I went off to college, and you know, I went to the University of Denver. I got my bachelor's degree in business and master's in business. And you know, when you're on the mainland, you really understand how special Maui is, and so I really wanted to get back to Maui. And because there's no place like Maui from my experience. And so I decided to come back, and ever since that time I was fortunate enough to work in county government. I worked for nearly 8 years with Council Chair Mike White, and I also during that time was involved with the Democratic Party. So for 4 years I served as the head of the Maui County Democratic Party, and I also sit on a leadership program called the Kaipukukui Leadership Board to train up-and-coming young leaders. And so that's one of the biggest things that I've been working on to make sure that we can better our community for the next generation.
Awesome. So before you had the position that you're in now, you were appointed by David Ige, right? What were you doing before then, and how does that prepare you for this job?
Yeah, so before I was appointed by the governor, I was working for the county council, Council Chair Mike White, who serves as the council chair. And that was a very interesting time, and it gave me a lot of great, unique experiences at the county level, because, you know, at the county level, really what you're doing is you're doing a lot of policy work, you're doing a lot of you know, research, you're doing a lot of making sure that the bills that are on the agenda are to form in legality. So it's a lot of detailed work. Right. In addition, I was in charge of making sure that a lot of our legislative initiatives at the state level were taken care of. You know, some of the big things that we were really concerned about is the well-being of our county as it relates to transit accommodations taxes. Right. And so if you know anything about Mike White and what he was trying to accomplish is we want to make sure that the county's got a fair share of this hotel tax. And we were at a headwinds because when you take a look at what happened with the Honolulu rail system, what the state legislature decided to do was they decided to tax neighbor islands to pay for Honolulu's rail, and that's neighbor island hotels. But the neighbor island counties never got any extra benefit. And so those are kind of things that I really want to focus on, you know, if I get into the legislature, is making sure that the county and state can work together instead of being you know, adversaries. You know, I think it was a very adversarial relationship over the past couple of years. And I think when residents look at government, they really look at government as one big government. They don't look at it as the state, the county, or the federal level. So we all need to work together to make sure that we are a cohesive team to make sure that services are delivered to our residents. And that's going to be my goal. It's about collaboration, and it's about the details of you know, during the time working for the council, I really understood that you need to make sure that there's good legislation, and you know, we don't get this legislation that sounds good, but really the details don't support really what the end goal should be.
Interesting. So yeah, that's something I've heard from a few candidates, which is they feel like the state legislature is very Honolulu-centric. Absolutely. And a lot of rural Hawaii doesn't have their voice heard. What are some of your ideas to bring more attention, maybe more funding to rural Hawaii, the area you represent? I can speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is making sure that we develop a strong neighbor island coalition of who really care about the neighbor islands, and making sure that the team, you know, we work together as a team and advocate to make sure that we can deliver. Because let's face it, in a 51-member legislature, you're going to have to be very collaborative. You're going to have to make sure that if you help someone on the Big Island, possibly they'll help you here on Maui. And it's also about committee chairmanships. Making sure that we can put in the time to gain the seniority needed to make sure that Maui-based legislators have committees that are able to deliver for the neighbor islands, and we need to make sure that we stay the course.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, and I'm willing to do that. It's not like you can go in there for 2-4 years and then look for another office.
Yeah.
To me, when you go to the state house, it's an investment that you put in, and I think I'm willing to do that because it's for the sake of not only here on Maui but all of the neighbor islands.
So I know that you've been going around the community, you've been going door to door. I know that because you actually came to my house. I wasn't there, but what have you learned in this experience meeting with community members, going around neighborhoods?
I think, the best thing about going door to door is just learning about what's on people's minds. And it's very interesting to really understand what's the heart of the issues here in our community. A lot of the issues that people bring up are economic viability for our future. One of those things is right here in Wailuku Town. What is the future of Wailuku Town going to be? There's this $82 million project on the books to revitalize Wailuku Town, and people are really concerned about how that's going to look and how that's going to impact our community. It's also about making sure that our future generations have a really good education system. It's really interesting that how people are thinking about what they want their children to have, and they want them to have the best, and because who wouldn't want the best for their children? And it's also about day-to-day issues like infrastructure and making sure that they can get to work on time and easily. And that's a big one that we have to invest in, including the Lahaina bypass, because a lot of people who live in this area, they need to go to Lahaina for their jobs or Kihei for their jobs. And I think it's making sure that they're not stuck in traffic so that they can spend more time with their families. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of issues that we're going to have to work on, but I think it's one step at a time. It's making sure that we do it methodically, we do it thoughtfully, and we do it as a team. Because it's not about it's about we within the community to make sure that we can accomplish all these goals.
Well, all right, we've made it to the Banyan Tree. Thank you for walking story with us, Troy.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, don't forget to vote in the primaries, August 11th, and the general election, November 6th.
Thank you.